Hey folks, JD here, and once again, the SJRC F11. Oh, for me, it doesn't get any better on a toy grade quad than this. I tell you what, I absolutely adore this thing. Absolutely. Do you know what? It's so much fun. The whole thing is just so much fun. It is a ridiculous amount of fun. And I think it's one of the easiest quadcopters to calibrate, one of the easiest quadcopters to fly, one of the easiest quadcopters to control. The GPS module is just absolutely bang on. The firmware of the quadcopter, again, is just bang on. It is just absolutely brilliant. I love it. I absolutely love it. I know I'm not sponsored by SJRC, I'm not endorsed by them, nothing like that. I just quite literally love to have a quadcopter that flies, and flies well. That is quite literally my very, very basic checklist. So I don't really focus too much about video or photos. I know I do it for all of you because you want to know exactly how it looks, how it's, you know, how the video actually comes out. Whereas for me, I wouldn't entertain using any of these as video or videography quadcopters, but as just flying birds, just for the fun of just getting out and flying. Do you know what? It does not get better for me. This reminds me of the best elements of the MJX bugs, the best elements of all the other toy quadcopters put together, but in a package that just works. And those are my findings, and that's it. I mean, the Z5 does exactly what it says on the tin, but in a smaller form factor and a much lighter form factor. This one again is just phenomenal. It really is. Every single aspect about this quadcopter for me just works. The roller wheel, there's none of this stupid sticking so you can try and whatever the hell it is that they want to do. There's none of that. There's just quite literally a roller wheel that moves the camera up and down. There we are, air brakes, bang, locked in place, no problem. If I now just use my roller wheel, then I can move my camera lens up and down. Okay, it's not the smoothest, but it just works. And that's something that I really, really like. I like to have things that just work. I don't like to have anything that turns around and tries to be helpful and then just overly complicates matters because the execution of it just doesn't work. Like that sticking of that roller wheel in the last quadcopter that we looked at. That absolutely just drives me nuts. It really, really does. Okay, there's somebody that's entered the field, so I'm going to have to down my quad. So I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, folks, we are alone. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, the whole execution of this, I think, is just brilliant. I really do. Okay, you have your usual woes, which are along the lines of, now and again, you have intermittent FPV. I don't particularly mind that because you're talking about 180 to 200 meters away when that starts to happen from what I found. So again, you know, that in itself is such a far distance. I mean, you can see now where the quad is, right? It's right in front of us there, little black dot in the sky. And that is a distance of 53 meters away, and that's it. You know, and personally, I don't fly for distance. I fly for the pure enjoyment of it, for the de-stress of it, what I think it gives me. And personally, I do, you know, I go through the clearing in front of us here, whenever I test a new quad, but usually if I fly off camera, I literally fly and I probably take her out to about 100 meters and that's it. That's just what I do. There we are, just like that. I like to fly line of sight. I don't like to fly using the FPV apps. I don't like to look at anything else other than the quad whenever I'm flying. I like to just look at the quad and that's it, you know, and I think this quadcopter just delivers. I really do. I think it just delivers in spades, and it's brilliant. And yeah, it's just something I really enjoy. Now what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take this video and I'm going to try and see, like we did yesterday, I'm going to try and see if the video came out yesterday. If not, you're not going to know what the hell this is. I'm going to try and I'm going to try and see if I can stabilize this video somewhat. Now this isn't the worst video on a toy grade quad. You know, it isn't riddled with jello. If I just air brake her there quite aggressively, you know, there's a bit of movement obviously, but there's not, you know, it's not there's not vibration jello, what I call it, which is just the motors vibrating the arms, which are then moving the body, which is then hitting the camera, and the camera isn't, you know, fluctuating around, the video stream isn't fluctuating around that badly. So it might make a bit of a difference. It has been known if you try to do anything too much that it might make it worse, but we'll give it a shot and see exactly how this goes as well. So I'm just quite interested to see whether, if we add a little element of stabilisation, if it makes any sort of difference to this particular quadcopter and to the actual, to the actual video. Not the quadcopter, it's not going to make a blind bit of difference to the quadcopter, but to the video it might. So I thought we'd give that a little shot and see how we do. And at the same time, I would take it back out for an unofficial revisit. Of course, if you haven't seen any of the other SJRC videos I've put out, you'll find them in the description should you want to check them out. Just every movement about this quad is just fantastic. If I give it a little bounce to increase its altitude, or if I bring it down a little bit, then it just responds accordingly. It's just really good. I don't believe I've ever had to worry when I've been flying one of these quads. I mean, we've flown a load of SJRC quads over the years, absolute myriad of them, and I keep on buying them and I keep on getting them because I just think they're great fun. Okay, now, you know, if you're a guy who likes all the features, if you are somebody that wants to have everything that works, then what I have found is that some of the feature sets inside these quads don't work, or at least they haven't worked for me. I'm going to say that, because otherwise there's going to be comments saying, well, it's worked for me. And of course, things like this, no two quadcopters are ever built the same. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says, they're not. You know, anything can go wrong in the manufacturing process and not be picked out. The whole process these days is about churning them out as quickly as possible. So therefore, if there are any small issues, it's probably not going to get picked up. So what I think and what I've found, especially when I've bought 2 and 3 quadcopters from the same batch, I've found that one works absolutely flawlessly, maybe 2 do, and then the third one just fails totally. So it's quite difficult to kind of put your finger on and say categorically that every quadcopter is going to be as good. But what I've certainly found from the quads that I have had, the SJRC quads I've had, is that from a flying perspective, they've just been absolutely brilliant. And I'm just moving her around now. I'm just adding roll. That was it. Just adding roll, just her flight. And she was just banking left and right, and you could hear the wind movements against the motor, against the propellers, and she was moving around. And again, no problems. She just did exactly what I told her to, and brilliant. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna stop waffling. I'm gonna bring this down. Let's get onto stabilising that video and seeing backwards and seeing if it has made any blind bit of difference. So what we're going to do first is we're going to have a little look at the video unedited, and then I'm going to stabilise it, and then we're going to have a little look at that, and then I'm going to use the video side by side, stabilised and not stabilised, so that you can see the differences if there are any. Alright my friends, well, I shall catch you very soon.